Alright. Welcome back to Dark Souls 3 Item and NPC Quest Guide. This is going to cover the Road of Sacrifices, Halfway Fortress, Crucifixion Woods, Crystal Sage, up to the Cleansing Chapel. We're not going to deal with Farron Keep and its swamps until later. Picking up right where we left off, we're going through quite possibly one of the more disliked part of this game, and that is simply because Corvians. Now, Corvians, at first glance, you might just run up to it and attack it, and you'll be like, yeah, that's not that bad. It's just a crow creature. It's not rough. And you'd be partially right. Corvians, right off the bat, don't suck that much. But it's when you let them do whatever the fuck they want to do that's when you start having issues. Corvians are easily one of my least favorite enemies in this game. If you get an opportunity where one is transforming, get behind it. Hit it with power attacks, backstab it, do whatever you gotta do. That being said though, the Corvian Great Scythe is an amazing weapon in my opinion. I love the size of this game, or as they call them, Reapers. They are very underutilized. Now down here is this game's version of Maneater Mildred. And if you give her the opportunity to, she will outright destroy you. She does not care. She hurts. She also, however, drops the Butcher's Knife, which is a very I shouldn't say useful. It's a very good weapon if you're going for a strength build. Its weapon art allows you to regain HP on hits to enemies. The only problem is I believe it's 24 strength. Yeah, 24 strength. It's purely a strength weapon. It is not meant for like mixed strength and dex builds like I am. Eventually, I think I would like 18 and 18 so I can use the Lothric Knight Sword and the Lothric Knight Shield, but that is, you know, that's a problem for a not so distant later Nate. This particular section is a bit rough if you give them ample time to transform, because there's quite a few Corvians. They're very docile when they're alone, but when they're not alone, you give them the transfer time to transform, they start doing a lot of damage, and it's not okay. We're going to tell this guy to go away. If he screeches, it tells the other ones to transform. Not a great time to be had by anybody. So we're going to go backtrack on the left-hand side of the bridge here. We're going to drop. We are going to pull out the bow. And we are going to shoot the dog on the left here. Hoping to get more hits off on it. Whatever. We have great combustion now. Besides the fact that that dog kicked my ass, great combustion kicks a lot of things' asses. It's a very, very potent ability. But down here we have Morn's Ring, which boosts miracles, and the Braille Divine Tome of Karim, the first of the 2 good tomes. There's a grand total of 4 tomes, 2 of which have dark, 2 of which have light. If you want to do the good side of Arena's questline, you want to make sure that you only give her the light tomes, which is Karim and Lothric, and don't give her the dark tomes, which is the Deep and the Londor tomes. This is Henri and Horus. They are essential to the Lord of Hollows ending. You just kind of exhaust their dialogue. and then we can light this bonfire. Now, if you're playing online for this next part, I will forewarn you right now, this is a very frequent area for invasions. Not only from NPCs, but from people. I don't know why, but people love invading in this spot. This is also the location for one of the two automatically summoned to invade people's areas. The first one of which is later on in the game, called Aldrich Faithful, and the one that's here is, I think, it's something to do with Farron, like the Farron Wolf Covenant. I can't remember the name of it exactly. It's based off of Artorias the Abyss Walker. Long story short, I don't like these sections. I don't like either one of those sections offline because you will get invaded all the time, constantly. Now, glanced over a lot of things there. The hollows with the trees, we call them toothpicks. They're just literally probably just like spear-wielding hollows. But the game likes to put them in such a fashion that they overlap each other. They have very good distance, and they do a surprisingly high amount of damage. So I typically want to bait them to come to me, and then deal with them one at a time. However, that's not always possible. The purple crab things, they will release poison clouds and poison you if you let them live long enough, or if you just, stand in the poison cloud. And these guys are lycanthropes. Seem pretty docile. Don't let that fool you. If you let them do anything, they will very hyper-aggressively attack you. And it will probably cause you to get just outright murdered. They're very, very aggressive. And it's kind of obnoxious to try and deal with. They hit like Mack trucks, and they hurt quite a bit. Now right around the corner here is your first Black Knight. Black Knights in this game, unlike Dark Souls 2, will constantly respawn. I don't think there's a single Black Knight in this game that doesn't respawn, which is both good and bad. Because good because you can farm them for their weapons and their armor and their shield and all that fun stuff. Bad because they're kind of vicious. They are much harder to deal with than they were in Dark Souls 1. Parry window is a lot smaller. Now, excuse me, this one has the two-handed Black Knight sword, and actually will probably kick my ass. We're about to find out. Okay, nope, he's got a... I was hoping to get a charged back stab. They can be parried, but the parry timings, for me at least, the two-handed Black Knight greatswords are a bit hard to figure out. Oh, that's not great. You know what? I just don't want to deal with you. Okay. Of course, he didn't want to give me anything. But to kind of give you a heads up what all just happened there, we got the Sellsword set, the Sellsword Twin Blades, which are very good if you pour all of your stats into Dex, basically, and give them a Sharpman fusion. They do massive amounts of damage and can be infused into weapons. Or they can be infused. So they actually do a lot of damage. Now, that is one of the two big crabs in this area. Now, the problem with the big crabs is they hurt quite a bit. We're going to actually use that Irithyll Straight Sword because they are very weak to the effect that's on the sword called Frostbite. However, watch out because they will always almost lead with that left attack. You can actually parry these crabs, but if you can hit them twice with the sword, it'll actually give them the frostbite effect, which you can then actually clear with a fire attack, which then you can apply frostbite again, and then clear with another fire attack, and then you can apply frostbite again. Any fire damage, firebomb, torch, pyromancy, doesn't really matter. It'll affect them all the same way. It'll clear the frostbite effect from them. Very useful knowledge. There's the second of the big crabs. But where the first crab was guarding is actually the armor set for the Pyromancer in the first game, and the first of the Great Pyromancy Swamps tomes. This is an NPC invasion, one that you will be invaded by at least twice. Yellowfinger Hazel. It shoots a lot of fire and dart. It actually likes to charge and hit with that mace when it's infused. It's actually a pick, I suppose, technically. Yellowfinger Hazel actually is a lot more obnoxious than I give her credit. However, if you stay aggressive and kind of avoid the magic, you can kill Yellowfinger Hazel pretty easily. We're going to keep progressing around to the swamp waters here. We're gonna kind of hug to the side now. Over here on dry land to avoid the other crab for now. There's a lot of items in this area. A lot of them. But, you know, we'll get them all. Don't worry. Ow. There is a lot of these poison crabs. They die pretty easily, but just around the corner here, there's a lot more of them. Killing them all before they cast the poison cloud, not always extremely viable. And they're guiding a Titanite shard. A couple more. Another toothpick. That item down there is actually a bait. Don't go for it, because it'll get this dog and a couple toothpicks to come after you. Dogs in Darksouls teleport. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They will literally just teleport above your character and just fall into existence. It's not hard to see them do it. It's pretty easy to bait them into doing it. We're gonna try and thin these guys' numbers a little bit, or at least spread them apart. Taking damage is never a good thing to do when you're playing a Souls game. Unless you're going for RTSR range, but I'm not comfortable enough to be in RTSR range. Like I've got over 1,000 hours into this game and several thousands of hours into Souls and Souls-like games, and I never want to be that close to death. I'll always fuck it up somehow. Stress roll, panic roll, something along those lines. It's just never good. Now, this is Crucifixion Woods Bonfire. We're not going to sit at it because we just spent all that time clearing all those toothpicks. We're actually going to run over here and grab the grass crest shield from behind this crab. And because I don't want the little crab interfering, we're going to kill it. Now, if you don't want to use the Irithyll Straight Sword, you don't have to. That was unfortunate. I just use it because I know they're very susceptible to it. You can just literally do a wail on them. A good attack to wait for is the that bubble blowing one. You can just swing awesome. You can also stagger them, and then go in for the I don't know what you really want to call it, visceral riposte. I mean, it's got different names in all the different Souls games. I suppose it's kind of a riposte or a guard break. Over here, you have the Fallen Knight Armor. Fallen Knight Armor is a very solid set. It is kind of known as like the newbie set because everybody uses it. Since we have so many pieces of Slayers, we're just going to use Slayers because Fallen Knight Armor is very similar to Slayers in weight. Like, not even kidding. Like, the helmet, I think, is the only thing that's actually lighter. But it has worse poise, worse physical. It has better bleed and frost, but, like, worse poison. It's got a bunch of worse stats. The actual, like, a Fallen Knight Armor weighs more, has slightly more physical, more fire and lightning, but it's got less poise, less curse resistance, less bleed, less frost. The gloves are heavier and have a little bit more stats, but like less poise, less curse, less poison. Poison's kind of important around this point in the game. And we could actually viably wear the trousers, so we're going to do that. Because they're better than the northern trousers. That being said as well, though, the Fallen Knight Armor does look pretty dope because the actual chest piece has like a trench coat overcoat, and the helmet obviously has like a hood. So the actual set itself, if you're not using Slayers or you're still trying to keep things light, Fallen Knight Armor is actually pretty solid. Do recommend using. The actual most common, like, newcomer build you'll ever see in this area is the Irithyll Straight Sword, the Fallen Knight Armor, and then they'll also have the Grasscrest Shield, which does stack with Chloranthony, I found out recently. So it's kind of worth potentially using. It's nice to have it on your back. It's not a super great physical reduction shield, though. I think in Dark Souls 1 it had like a 95%, and now it's like an 89. It might have been 89 in Dark Souls 1, but it blocks more than the shield that I'm using currently, and has a faster stamina regeneration. But the downside is that I don't get the healing, the constant healing. Now that is our good old friend Hodrick. That being said, Hodrick 2.0 is a little bit tougher than Hodrick 1.0. Now, Hodrick 2.0 does a lot more damage. Will easily two-shot me, guaranteed. Not even a threat. That's a promise. He's really not worth it. I mean, I'll be giving him a shot here after I grab the rest of these items, because over here is another Estus shard. Lovely, lovely Estus shards. Another Ember. More Lycanthropes. Thank you for the Titanite. We're gonna go through, collect the rest of the items, try and kill Hodrick, and then go for the boss. Hodrick might be possible to do. He's just a lot tougher second time around. Go in here, kill the Screamy Hollow. Now there's a guy with a big hat up here. You can kind of cut him and his friends down. Grab the Heretic Staff that's in here. A new spellcasting catalyst if you're not really wanting to use the hell is it called? Just the basic sorcerer's staff. I don't recall what's the point of heretics. I think it does more dark, or does it scale differently? I don't remember. It's another catalyst. Actually, you know what? We picked up the Sorcerer's Catalyst. We can just check. The actual Heretic Staff has a D and a B. I thought we picked up the Sorcerer's Catalyst. Did we not? Did we only get the armor? Maybe we only got the armor. Did we not even grab the armor? Am I crazy? Whatever, I'll have to check into that. I know where the armor is supposed to be. Shield Hollow over here. We're going to go this way quick, because there's a gem lizard. Standard plan. Get killed by a hollow, apparently. Okay. Cool. Now, running up this way, there is a guy up there that will cast Crystal Soul Spheres. We'll deal with him in a moment. Golden Falcon Shield. I believe another soul packet. And then there's a couple of people over there, which we will deal with in the near future as well. There's a nice, easy way to cheese them. I want to see why I didn't end up picking up the Sorcerer's stuff, because it should have been... I should have been on that corpse. Why didn't I... Did they just not come with gloves? No, I got the Sorcerer's hood. And the robes. Yeah. Huh, they just didn't come with a catalyst, I guess. Alright, whatever. Okay, coming up here, we're back in this room. We're going to go up. We're going to duck and cover over here. We have our good old friendly shield hollow with a spear, of course. Couldn't have it any other way. And there should be a guy up here. Huh. I don't know where he is. There's normally another big hat sorcerer that casts Crystal Soul Spheres hanging out up there, unless he fell down. I hear footsteps. That's not him up there. Oh, there he is. No, he casts Soul Spheres, so we don't want to let him do that. Now, up these stairs to the right, we have another NPC whose quest line we can start. This is Orbeck of Vinheim. If you have 10 in intelligence or higher, you can ask him to learn in sorceries, and he will ask you to bring him any sorcery scrolls that you find throughout the areas. And you need to bring him at least one, or else he will leave. He's also not pivotal, but he's an optional thing you can do for the Lord of Hollows, which will get you a blade called the Morian Blade, which actually, I think, has bleed on it. It also has an RTS artifact on it that stacks with Red Tear Stone Ring. So, if you really like to play dangerously, by all means. Now these guys, they're not super hard to deal with, but you can always just cheese them. Just get on the ladder and then climb one rung down, and their AI will cause them to come after you and fall and die. You can kill both of those guys, grab the homeward bones, move on with our lives. I'm going to go down there. There's a bonfire down here I'm going to light, and also collect their weapons. Because the Exile Greatsword is a great weapon. I'm personally not a huge fan of curved greatswords or curved swords in general, but they're there as an option. Climbing back up the ladder from where we came. There's really only one thing left to do in the area, and that's beat this area's boss, who, if you can do enough damage to, hooray. If you can't, I mean, there's not much else you can do about it. There is one summon for this fight, and it is Egon from Kareem, the big ol' Morn's Mace goblin head looking guy. Before we move towards the boss, we've got one other thing that we said that we were going to do, and that's we're going to try and kill Odric. I do have another Ring of Sacrifice. I don't think I'll need it though. Alright. Not because I won't die, but because it's so close to a bonfire. We're gonna give it a shot. If he kills me, he kills me. I mean, he only gives like 1,000 or so souls. Typically, you want to start this out with a backstab, and then kind of play defensively. That two-handed sword of his will hurt. That weapon art will hurt a lot. I typically will wait for him to try and cast his pyromancy. That'll increase his damage. And then I punish him for it. So anytime he's got his shield out, he will absolutely bury you. So what I try and do is bait his pyromancy. Come on. Do your pyromancy. That's a shield, not a pyromancy. Come on, Hodrick. If you get decent enough distance away, that'll typically bait his pyromancy. Typically. Ow. How much damage he does. Oh yeah, and he will punish your healing very frequently as well. I mean, I have pyromancy that I'm not afraid to use. Seriously, Hodrick? Why? Am I not a big enough threat for you to use your pyromancy on? Is that what's going on here? Here it is! Now, if you interrupt that, you can punish the shit out of that. This one's got 3 Estus, by the way. He'll try it again, and you can punish the shit out of it. Don't attack when you've got a shield out, though. Oh, I should be dead right now. Yep, you're out of Estus. And anytime he pulls out his Pyromancy Flame to cast Power Within, you can punish him. No! No! I was so close! Why, Parry God Hodrick? Why? Oh, and then he killed himself anyways, because he... God damn it. Oh, and I'm down here because this is the last bonfire lit. Oh, no. Parry God Hodrick, why? Now, I'm actually curious. I don't think I gave him enough time to actually die to the point where he's no longer summonable. We're actually going to try that one more time, I think. Yeah, he's there. Like an asshole. I say, did the dog really see me from down there? What the hell? Alright. Hodrick is a bit of a bastard, so if you end up dying to Hodrick, don't be surprised. I have a personal vendetta against this man. It's the only reason why I'm actually doing this. That sword tracks a lot as well. Hodrick, you're such a troll. Yeah, anytime he pulls out his shield, he'll pull out his shield after you swing at him 2 times, typically. And you don't want to, if you swing more than 2 times when he has his shield out, he will guaranteed parry you. He is pulling me straight into the dog. No. Crap. Next thing he'll do is cast Warmth. This is the one that heals you if you stand next to it. It heals everybody. And now that he's got his Pyromancy up, he doesn't care. Alright. Suck it. Hodrick. Yeah. Only 1,100 souls for that. And he gets even harder in New Game Plus. Like, if you have, I think, 20 Vitality. If you have 20 Vitality. 20 Vigor. And he parries you and you're embered. It's, I think, potential. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, he's got something that, like, if you're not at full health, he will kill you. It like, his parry does so much damage. It's disgustingly busted. But he's also got an armor set that we'll be getting later on in the game, which is a pretty solid armor set. But that's much later on in the game. Now, from here, we can head towards the first boss of this area. Have the blue bug pellet, come down, kind of clear out the area because we can. And if you needed help on this fight, Egon's summon sign is right there. He's not the brightest bulb in the box, but he is technically a body. So if you need help with this boss, feel free to summon him. My experience with this next boss kind of varies. Most of the time, he's not bad for me. He was doing most of the time. There's a way to kind of cheese him if you're lucky and know how to manipulate it. I'm not so lucky. I haven't practiced it. I'm not a speedrunner or anything. But we're going to use the dark pine, or the human pine resin here for dark damage. I don't recall what he's actually weak to. It might be cold. But he'll dip down. He'll go invisible. And because I accidentally equipped a different weapon, I lost my pine resin. He actually is technically parryable. He has a rapier. That actually you can parry. Like I said, I'm not a speedrunner. I don't practice all the speedrunner strats. Oh, did we already hit that point? Cool. When he gets to phase 2, which is about this much health, he summons a bunch of copies of himself, and only the one with the purple is the real one. And this is when things get kind of hectic. Because his copies all do damage. You can hit the copies and do damage to them and they'll disappear, but that's if you can hit the copy, or find which ones are the copies. Like this one's going to be a copy, this one's a copy, any of the ones with blue crystal. Oh no. Yep. Okay, well, that worked out, I suppose, kind of, maybe. Yeah, it worked out. So, long story short, the reason why I didn't teleport there is we had one of those purple crystals floating above his head. Anytime he has one of those above his head, he cannot teleport. So, some of the speedrunner strats are to actually keep kind of moving around him, so that way he can never shoot off that last crystal. Therefore, you can just beat the living tar out of him. And he can't leave, so then you can just drain his health bar completely. Like I said, I'm not a speedrunner. I'm just a guy who's played this a lot. But I got the, I killed him. I got the soul. I don't think I got the souls for killing him, which is kind of unfortunate. Maybe I did. I don't recall having 36,000. But, oh, cheeky. That's not the point. Final parts of this guide. This part of this guide, at least, is going to be killing this Titanite lizard for the Twinkling Titanite. Coming around this corner, killing this Titanite lizard for another Twinkling Titanite. If you continue through this way, you can drop behind the Evangelist and the 1-2 machete guys with cages. So I typically just grab the Herald set, which is there, and just book it, because none of them will follow you across this bridge. Their AI is kind of leashed to that section. So we're going to light the bonfire here, and then we're going to go around this corner here. There's going to be a guy wearing the Fallen Knight set with a bandit knife in one hand and a sword in the other, and he is kind of a dick. Not the hardest enemy to fight. He's very predictable. He doesn't have a lot of good defenses. He just kind of R1 spam for the most part. He doesn't parry you like Hodrick does. We got the Paladin Ashes. And then he's got a friend, which the reason why we kill him first is because if you don't and you go after his friend up here on the steps to the left there, he actually will come up from behind you and you'll have to fight 2v1. We don't want to deal with that. So we drop down that little ledge right there, because this will bring us up to this overlook, which has the crest shield, and where the other enemy is. Now we can actually jump and get a plunging attack to start that out with, and that's a solid trade for HP. This guy actually will use the war cry, which is the Axe's like weapon art, a lot. But he also drops a shield, which is, it's alright. This is a gauntlet. See? Teleporting dogs. I mentioned it earlier. That is visual proof. Teleporting dogs. You can run past all the archers, but you will have the dogs coming after you. So typically what I would like to do is go after the dogs, take out the archers, slowly but surely. Archers kind of do a little bit of damage. I want to try and avoid getting hit by them. Another soul packet. So this guy. And that should be just about it, I believe. I don't think there's any items in the trenches. We can come up here towards the Cathedral of the Deep, which will be the next area's guide. This guy will light himself on fire and will threaten to explode. We're not going to let that happen. Killing him. You know what? Because we're right here, I'm going to come up here and kill these guys too, because this is another Estus Shard. And we got to go back to Firelink anyways. We got 39,000 souls to spend that I'd rather not lose. And we also have some more deaths to claim from Yol. Over here we have the Notched Whip. Come up here, light this bonfire. On the right hand side here, this is Gale. He'll be here if you have the Ashes of Ariandel DLC. He is the way into the Ashes of Ariandel DLC. You can actually talk to him a bunch, except after you light the bonfire. Light the bonfire first. Because if you don't, you will have to go through all the dogs and archers again. You talk to him, you'll get the Ashes of Ariandel area, which is a bitch of an area to go through. And we will be going through it later. There is a strat and a path you can follow right now that actually will get you a lot of large Titanite and another Titanite chunk. So you can actually get your weapon up to +8, +7? +7. +7 before you even go through the next areas. But I don't expect everybody to do it, so I'm not going to worry about it. From this bonfire, we can go back to the Firelight Shrine. And now, I'm fairly certain we will have a Seed of a Giant Tree, so we can finally get Solaris Pants. Now, after you talk to Henri and Horus back at the Halfway Fortress bonfire, Seeress of the Sunless Realms will be hanging out on the stairs here. You can talk to her. She'll basically say, like, you're not worth my time, I'll deal with you later. Like, blessings of the moon upon your journey, but I don't give two shits about you. She'll change her tune eventually. Can you get her level from Yule? And it's worth noting that every single time that you get a level from Yule, you'll actually get another Dark Sigil. So you can get up to 5 Dark Sigils from him, which will give you 5 free levels. And it's based, or when you can actually, is based on your hollowing. So now with 8 hollowing, I'll actually, like, I shouldn't say I'll be seeing or be getting, but like with 8 hollowing, when that reaches I think 15 or 20, I can actually get all the levels. You get 1 hollowing per Dark Sigil you have per death, so it speeds up after you have a couple of deaths. We're going to give the coal to Andre here, which will actually unlock different, more infusions from him. So now instead of that, he now has access to heavy, sharp poison, I think, because it was raw, fire, and refined before. Refined is not worth yet. Sharp, close to being worth. Heavy, not as close. Okay, fire gem could just not do anything. Shriving stone would actually make it go down a little bit, so it's still good to have it be raw for now, with our current stats. We're going to reinforce our Estus Flask a couple of times, because we got a couple of shards. I think we're going to leave it at 7 and 2, so we haven't been using our pyromancies nearly as much.
Be careful.
We're going to go talk to the Handmaiden. We're going to give her the Umbral Ash of the Paladin. And that unlocks the Exile sets and the Sage's Big Hat. I believe that might actually just be from killing the Crystal Sage, but it unlocks a couple things. This Tower Key is really tempting to buy. Yeah, I'll buy the Tower Key. It's a lot of souls. We also have a new boss soul we can transpose at Ludleth, so we're going to go do that. No, we want the Crystal Sage Rapier because the Crystal Sage's Rapier, for some stupid reason, actually gives you higher item discovery. So if you don't use the Crystal Sage's Rapier, you can always just like equip it in your offhand. So I think I technically can. Yeah, I can. I've got the stat requirements, 18, 13. It does magic damage and physical damage, but typically I'll have it just equipped in my offhand and then two-hand my main hand weapon. And it will actually just provide you with item discovery, because it provides you with 50 item discovery, which is fairly solid. I'm going to dump the rest of our souls here. Try and get up to 18. Yep. And then finally, we're going to close out this episode by getting 2 more things from the crows. Oh, and we may as well actually use, use the tower key that I dropped 20,000 on. Seed of a giant tree. The tower key opens up this door. Now, there's a couple of things that are up here that are actually worth getting. Oh, there's at least one thing up here that's worth getting. But first, we may as well get the shortcut and get the crows. Drop down here, drop down here. Now we're on the roof proper, and we can kick down this ladder, so you no longer have to jump. And on top of that, the crows have another nest up here. So you don't have to go all the way around. We're going to drop the seed of a giant tree, and we're going to drop the shriving stone. Because that's going to get us the iron leggings and the I'm sorry carving. And the carvings are fun to use.
I'm sorry.
They've got the voice lines. I believe they're meant to be Go's voice lines. Hawkeye Go from the first game. Goff. I don't rightfully remember how to pronounce his name. But they're supposed to be his voice lines, I believe. I want to say there's no items down there in those ledges, but I did play a mod not terribly long ago called the... Oh shoot, what was it called? There was a mod that I don't remember the name of the mod anymore. I'll have to look it up. It's a pretty solid mod, I just can't remember what it is. It adds in like all the Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls, our Bloodborne weapons, all of that stuff to the game. Pretty solid mod. Don't play online if you play it, because it will get your account banned and you won't be able to play with your friends if you wanted to do that. Now there's an item down there, and then there's the item way down there. The item that we want is the one way at the bottom, but this is a complete guide, so we're going to try this. Now, I've been experimenting with this over the years. I believe the easiest way to do it is to literally just like line yourself up with this crack, and then just kind of sprint off in the corner. First thing you want to do is drink. And then we can kind of creep over and grab the Firekeeper set. But then we make sure our health is topped off, fall down a little bit further, and grab the real prize down here, which is the Estus Ring. Estus Ring is, quite frankly, also extremely useful. It increases the amount of HP restored every time you drink the Estus Flask by 20%. So that's 20% more healing per Estus Flask, and it's actually extremely useful in the grand scheme of things. Not super necessary, but it is beneficial to have. So, whatever. May as well have it. If you don't use it, you don't use it. No biggie. I think that's everything. So we'll be doing Farron Woods in a different section, and we will be doing DLC much, much later. And I think it's just time now for Cleansing Chapel, which is a nice big old maze of lots of angry things to deal with. So, I guess, thank you everybody for watching this. We will be starting next at the, pants. Now we're talking. Now we're Solaire. Yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and we will continue this guide in the next video. See ya.